Hello and welcome to episode 6. So this is the second time that I've tried to record this podcast. The first time the software crashed and I've lost everything. So this week we'll be talking about Suicide Squad. I'll be reviewing that shortly, but first I've had a whole week off work. I've been able to do quite a lot of things, and I've also celebrated my wife's birthday, and it was good. On Tuesday we went to watch Suicide Squad. On Monday I went into town for the first time in a very long time, and I saw the tram stops and the actual tram tracks on Corporation Street, and I was thinking to myself, this is ridiculous, because half the shops in town are boarded up or not even making much money. It didn't seem like there was a lot of people in town. Usually I would see quite a lot of people in town. You know, you'd find it hard to just walk through the street, but it seems to be a lot of developments happening for no reason, and I understand that they're trying to get more people coming into the city centre, but it doesn't look like it's happening, and I don't think having to pay for a tram to take you from one place to the next will actually justify you going to town. I know that they are going to do another 1 or 2 lines because they want to go all the way up to Merry Hill Shopping Centre, which makes perfect sense, but I don't understand how they're going to do that, because currently we've got the tram that goes from Snow Hill Station to Wolverhampton, which is fine, and that's a good thing to have, but there's nothing in Wolverhampton. It's more or less like a ghost town. I'm surprised McDonald's hasn't left yet. Revolution Bar has left. There isn't much going on there, considering it's a university town or city now. It was a city when I was at university there. It changed over, I think, about a year after I was there. I think they want to make one going from Birmingham City Centre to Hagley Road. No idea why, and I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, so all these big contracts have been agreed years and years in advance by politicians, crooked politicians, and crooked companies that want to pay politicians for their power. Basically, they're paying politicians and people in power to actually put these bills through Parliament and councils or whatever they are doing. I can see benefits of it, but the benefits mainly to the companies. I'll give you an example of something. The M6 toll, not many people use that, and I don't know if they've actually made a profit yet, but they spent millions and millions of pounds getting this stretch of motorway created, which you have to pay for, by the way, and it's underused. I went on it maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and it was dead. It was completely dead. I've only used it 2 or 3 times now, and I don't see the point in it. I think what they should do is get rid of the toll booths and just open it up to everyone, and the government can then reimburse the company for exactly what they paid for it. Yeah, so one of the treats for my wife's birthday was to take her to a spa day. We went to a spa session which was for 2 people having 2 treatments. So I suffer from aches and pains quite a lot. Usually when I'm traveling and I'm sitting in the car for ages and hours on end, and sometimes when I wake up also. And my wife has the same issues because she works early hours. There's a lot of lifting involved in her work. So we both went. We chilled out at the swimming pool for an hour before the treatments. We both had the same first treatment, which was a neck, shoulder and back massage. And that was really good. It felt good at the time. And it felt really good afterwards, and even till today, it's been 2-3 days now, and it feels good, and I don't really feel that tired, to be honest with you. Usually when I'm sitting down for long periods of time, I do ache, but it hasn't happened yet, touch wood. Yeah, and then the second treatment that I had was an express facial, but I can't see the changes from what my face looked like previously. So it does feel softer, but because I shave with a badger brush and a safety razor, my face is quite exfoliated already. It's just the nose and the forehead area which doesn't get as much exfoliation. It was actually good. My wife enjoyed it and she thought it was good, and she wanted to see if she could find somewhere closer by where she could do this on a regular basis, but see how that goes. I think if you ever get the chance, or if you see a offer good enough on like Groupon or Voucher, you should try and go for a massage or a spa day. See how good you feel afterwards. Right, so some news. So Microsoft released their anniversary update, which I took advantage of, and it seems to be working pretty well. I think they've fixed the issue with the start button not showing up. What I liked about the previous version of Windows 10 was the start menu option and layout, and now they've slightly tweaked it. I'm not sure if I like it as much, but I'm sure it'll grow on me. Some more Microsoft news. Most Microsoft devices, whether it be tablets, PCs, or mobile phones, have this thing called Secure Boot, which prevents people from running different operating systems like Linux, and I don't know if you can get a version of OS X to run off a USB stick. You possibly could. Somebody's accidentally released some code or a key of some kind which will allow you to disable Secure Boot and run different operating systems. So I would love to try that out. I'm going to try that out on my laptop and see how that goes. So the opening ceremony of the Rio 2016 Olympics was quite boring. I kind of switched off, to be honest with you, so I'm not too sure what I can talk about in regards to the Olympics, but one thing I have been annoyed about is that I haven't been able to watch any of the archery because A, I don't know when it's on, and B, whenever I do look at the extra feeds on the BBC red button, I can't see any archery on the list at all, and there's no other channels on Sky that are showing any other sports to do with the Olympics, so that's really annoying. To get my archery fix, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of new bows and current bows, and seeing people shoot them in their back garden. That's not as exciting as seeing people actually shoot for a tournament. Right, so there's been things happening in the Formula One world, and I'll be talking about that in my next podcast and YouTube video. We've got 1 week left till SummerSlam, and I'm thinking to take the next morning off work, or the next day off work. See if I can stay up and watch it live. Not really too sure about the card. There are some matches on the card, but they're not really appealing to me at the moment. They're just normal standard match. Alright, some news for Skype users. Anyone using Windows Phone, Skype will stop working for your phone in 2017. So as a guest, they're forcing you to upgrade. So some more blockchain news. I know you guys love it. So there's a couple of banks that are trialing out the blockchain to simplify trade. So we'll see how they implement it, and if it's any good, I guess it will be something that's used a lot in the very near future. So Bank of America and HSBC are trialing this out. They're working with a company called Infocom Development. I've got to check who they are. I think they're based in Singapore. Okay, so let's talk about Suicide Squad. So we went to watch Suicide Squad on Tuesday with my wife's nieces, and one of her nieces was underage, and I didn't realize this, but the movie is actually rated 15. I don't know why, because I didn't find anything, offensive or, well, there was slight sexual references. But they would have gone over any normal kid's head, and there was hardly any violence, to be fair. It was more supernatural kind of, well, there was guns involved, but I don't think it was very violent in that respect. So we snuck her in, and she watched the movie with us, and the person at the cinema questioned their ages, but we got them through anyway, so that was good. She didn't really put up much of a fight, to be fair, the person at the cinema. If it was me, I would have actually asked each individual person how old they were instead of asking the adult. So the movie, just to give you a bit of background on it, because Batman vs Superman was so shit, and Man of Steel was at best okay, they had to reshoot some scenes. I don't know why they reshooted scenes, to make them a bit more funnier, maybe. Maybe to add, I don't know, some more action. Because of that, and the film seemed a bit disjointed. It was trying to be humorous as well as, serious at the same time. Which was fine, but all this different scenes seemed a bit chopped and changed. And I noticed that at the end, towards the end of the movie, so there was a scene where they were introducing Kitana, which was fine. That they said stuff about her husband's spirit is in that sword that she carries, and then for some reason they mention it again towards the end of the movie, just before the final fight, and it didn't make sense to me. So I thought, hold on a minute, why would you say the exact same thing at the start of the movie and then at the end of the movie? That obviously led me to believe that yes, there was a lot of chopping and changing going on, because there were other parts of the movie that felt the same. Yeah, and I found out the reason was because the trailer was cut by a third party company, which I think they only make trailers or something, but you and I know, or any good movie um, viewer knows, is that you shouldn't take much from the trailer because it's obviously there to sell the movie. And this is what the trailer for this movie actually did. It was selling you a type of movie, but the movie that we've got was a completely different type. They were selling us the fact that the Joker was going to be in it, as in the main character. He was playing a bit role, to be fair, and he wasn't really in that much of the movie. He was in possibly at the start, and then a scene midway through, and then towards the end. And it was a Joker that I personally wanted to see. It focused mainly around three of the main characters, if you don't include the villain. So it was Deadshot, played by Will Smith, Colonel or Lieutenant Flag, which is a really shit name. I don't know if there's a guy called Flag in the comics, but it was him, and then it was Harley Quinn that everything centered around, and the other guys like Katana, Captain Boomerang, and Killer Croc were just supporting actors, and unfortunately they didn't really have a big role. They just made up the numbers, I guess. Yeah, so the movie was a bit disjointed. There wasn't a clear focus on the plot. I really liked the Will Smith character, and I think Will Smith was probably one of the better actors in this movie. I know he's done a lot of stuff in the past, but if I didn't know Will Smith and he was just some random guy put into this movie playing Deadshot, I would have thought, wow, this guy's pretty good. I felt that his struggle was one that a lot of people can relate to. He's just trying to make some money, trying to support his daughter. You know, he's trying to be a good person, and his job is obviously not something a good person would do, which is kill people, but hey, each to their own. Yeah, so you kind of felt for him, and you kind of were rooting for him all the way through, and he did. I'm not sure if in the comics he's the leader of the Suicide Squad, but he seemed like the natural born leader, and that was quite good. Okay, so if you don't know by now, I am more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan, but I do like some DC characters, mainly from the Batman universe. Um, so a lot of the things about these characters I won't know anything about. The only thing I know about is Batman, Superman, and you know, their villains and some of their main storylines, because they're either on in the movies or they are in well-known comics where the comic has transcended into pop culture, like the death of Superman, which actually I do have the comic for. I have it's the issue after Superman's died. I think I'm going to go read that if I can find it. The music in this movie was good, but I think the music has been put in afterwards, after it was originally edited, because it doesn't really fit with some of the scenes, and I think they just put it in to pump it up a bit. The lift scene was really good with Harley Quinn. Um, and the music in that section was awesome. A lot of the music, to be fair, was from my heyday, I would call it. um, yeah, so I enjoyed it. I was bopping in my seat slightly, not too much, and yeah, it was good. I'm not sure how good the movie would have been if they didn't like reshoot scenes and recut it. I think it is what it is now, and they have to go with it. Hopefully, people will like it. I liked it. It kept me entertained for 2.5 hours. I think I want to give this movie a 7 or an 8, but unfortunately, I'm going to give this a 6. But I'd like to give them an A for effort, and DC is on the other side of the scale for me. They are on the crap franchise side of things for me, whereas my franchise, which is Marvel, they will always be number one for me. But here's me trying to be fair, and I'd like to say, go watch this movie. It might not make sense to you, but it's a good opening. It's a good opening movie to introduce some baddies or villains into the franchise for DC. It's a good way of introducing your main heroes, is by showing the villains first. It kind of reminds me of an episode or episodes of Columbo, where you'd see the bad guy first, and then after the murder you'd see Columbo coming in. It's that kind of, it gives you that kind of feel for it, so it's different. Normally you'd see the hero being born, and then you'd see the villain being born or created or having the urge to kill people. So I think it was a fresh take on things. They were trying to update quite a few things. I'm glad they put Harley Quinn into the movie. It wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have, sorry, not made sense. It wouldn't have flowed very well without having her and the Joker dynamic. It would have just been another generic, let's walk to here, shoot some people, then walk to here, shoot some people, let's walk to here, then shoot some people kind of movie. Yeah, so A for effort to them. Please go watch it. I think it's a good thing. I'm gonna wait for Justice League to actually see if the franchise is actually worth carrying on watching. Would I want to spend like £8 or £10 to watch this movie at the cinema? Okay, so I'm going back to work next week, and it's going to be a bit of a hectic week for me. I haven't been enjoying work recently. I'm not too sure if it's the people, the place, or my journey there. I think it's my journey there, because it takes a lot out of me now, because I've moved house, and I'm not really happy there at the moment. You can probably see that from some of my videos where I'm just tired as fuck, and I'm doing a show and being unappreciated by the organizers of the show, and it's in the last couple of videos you might have even seen me not even bother shaving for these videos, for these shows. So I'll just turn up with like 2 day or 3 day stubble, and then by the time the show started and finished, I've still got like a full face of stubble. It's not good, it's not professional, and it's not me. And I think it's happening because I'm not happy at work, and I hope it does change soon. Because I like what I do, even though it keeps changing. And it's just one of those things, I guess. You come to a point in your life when you think there must be more to this than this. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a quote from Steve Jobs, and it goes something like this: if today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you're about to do today? So until next time, please like, subscribe to my videos and to my podcast, and please share them with your friends and family, and I will see you next time. Thank you.